Hello, welcome to Paleo Greenbird. I'm Greenbird, and today is going to be episode 10, I think, in the Dacite Tool Challenge. I did take a couple of flakes prior to this video, and they all resulted in just breakage and failure, so I probably won't post them. But we're getting thin enough now to where we can start worrying about what our final tool, our final arrowhead, spear point, whatever it is going to look like. We've got a lot of bird points. We've gotten a couple of big game points out of this one stone. But now it becomes a little bit more critical in the flakes that we take. So let's have some fun and see what happens. You see a spot, a thick spot right here. I do have a platform for it, so I'm going to take it. Small flakes, nothing we're going to keep. There's another thick spot over here. I think we may have gotten to the point where now we're working on that final point. There we go. Just got a usable flake there. Check that out. So this was our platform that we hit. Nice and deep. Boom, there's our flake. That is big enough to be an arrowhead. I think we might stop and make ourselves an arrowhead. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with the grinder, get rid of all that weak stuff. The bulb of percussion is in the back, so we'll have to thin that out. But that's no big deal. So I think I can get this bulb of percussion off just by using some pressure. I don't know for sure, but I'll try. Hopefully I don't break it. Well, just take any natural platform that I'm given. Try not to put too much pressure on the point itself, because that will snap it. Just if I can. If I don't have a platform to take off big chunks, then I will nibble at whatever area I feel needs to be reduced. Just trying not to break the point in half. Just trying to keep support in mind. Always got to keep the piece supported or it will snap. Alright. I think we might end up with something here. Which is good, because I don't know if I'm going to post the videos or not, but I just smashed about three or four flakes into dust. That came off the same little piece that we're working. It's not that I don't want to show my failures. I just feel like, you know, who wants to watch something that doesn't have a happy ending? It's kind of... Okay. So I'm working on that base, if you couldn't tell. That thick bulb of percussion there. Just trying to thin that out. And I think I'm to the point now where I'll take a few more passes and then I'm going to start shaping this. Which is where I have run into some problems the last few flakes. So I'm just going to gently get the spots out there that go outside of the shape of the point. Okay, so this was a really wide, flaring edge. I know it's not going to be part of the point, so I might as well just get rid of it now. I'm gonna flip over. See how we got this big flaring edge too? I mean, it's super sharp and probably make a great skinner or something, but it's not going to be part of this point. If I'm making a point, that's definitely not going to be part of it. So I'm just trying to chip it away as best I can without creating too much pressure in that groove to snap it in half. This is at the point where I should probably be just using the leather pad, but I'm too stubborn. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully I'll break this. Like I said, whether you see it on video or not, I've already broken about 3 of these. And I'm just taking little pieces off the side, just enough to shape it. Taking a look at it. I mean, these flakes are so thin that I'm not even worried about a flake pattern, because I know I'm not going to get one. But you do still see from time to time, you know, platforms that present themselves. You can't pass those up. So keep flipping it over, because when I find when I flip it over, go to the other side, I keep my symmetry a lot better. I don't get fixated on one particular area. That's just what's worked for me. I don't know if that's great advice or not. You have to experiment with your stone and tell me what you think. Yeah, some of these flakes are just grinding off material. That's fine. We'll sharpen it later. Okay, so you can see most likely that this edge of the base here flares out way more. I need to take care of that, because if I don't, then when I'm making the point, I'll kind of naturally start to follow that as far as shaping, and I'll make a lot of mistakes because of it. So better just get rid of that now, for me, in my opinion. You'll find there are different techniques and different things that will help you when you're making your points. I guess the best advice I can tell you is that don't take anything anybody says as gospel, because it might work well for them. Doesn't mean it'll work well for you. Now, of course, there are certain aspects as far as physics is concerned that is universal. It's just the way it is. But the way you deal with those physics can be very individual. And that's what makes it such an art. Once you understand the basics of flint knapping and what you're trying to accomplish and how you accomplish it, you'll find yourself breaking the rules all the time, because you understand what you're doing, and your brain will come up with a better idea than what you have previously been taught. And that is because wherever you learn that information, was from somebody who learned that information from their own perspective. Alright, so I've got like there's like a ripple here. I may end up blowing off that tip, I don't know. I hope not. But I'm going to grind and see where I'm at. This might be a really primitive Paleolithic type of point, which I love. Those are some of my favorites, to tell you the truth. Flip it around and do the other side. Yeah, we're getting a nice little preform here. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so because of that little, there's another word for it that I just can't think of, but it's a ripple, it's a wave. I don't know if I can get much thinner on that without breaking the point. So I may have to just settle, and it's pretty thin right now. I mean, it's deadly thin. And this is just a flake point. This isn't probably going to be bifacial in nature. And you can get flake points bifacial. You just need to take thicker flakes than what I'm taking. These flakes that I'm taking are not thick enough, in my opinion, or at my skill set, to make bifacial. They're too thin. But each one I make gets a little bit better. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm just trying to take off. The base here is a little bit thicker than the rest, quite a bit thicker. So I'm trying to just pressure flake that thin, because I'm going to give this kind of an old school notch. I'm not going to side notch or anything. I'm going to give it more of I believe it was Paleolithic. It might have been Salutrian, but these more of a V notch from the back. I'm pretty sure that's Paleolithic. Might have bled into the Mesolithic period. And, that'll be pretty cool. I mean, I could get a nice, sweet, bifacial, beautiful point out of that rock, but it would have been one point that I got. And if I had unlimited access to that area, maybe I would do that. But what if I had to travel 100 miles to get this material, like many of them did? They travel over and over across the United States or Europe, depending upon, what timeline you're following. Really interesting too, because when I first started mapping, I was all upset because I was like, oh, there's nothing in my area that's natural. I don't understand that. You go out west and they have all this stone and everything. And then the more I learned about how they napped and how they made their tools, the more I learned that no matter where they lived, they generally had to travel a pretty good distance to get to their stone. They just learned where it was and how to get to it. Oh, just broke that off. Alright. It's fine. Just be a little bit shorter. I'm not used to doing those bottom groove notches there, but that's okay. We have plenty of point left to work with. I'll show it to you in just a second. Ooh, that was a nice sound, huh? So this is our corrected point. Have to trim off the base or adjust the tip. Yeah, I need to adjust the tip. I think that's the solution. So I'm going to bring this tip in a little bit. Bring it back into symmetry. These Dacite tool challenges are really fun for me. I don't know if they might be boring for you to watch, but for me, documenting this is really, really cool because it's so much different than just taking a piece of stone and saying, I'm going to end up with one point. These little flakes are so much different to work with. Because instead of worrying about getting that beautiful Facebook point that you can post, you know, you sort of feel that sense of, you know, I need something that's going to perform, something that's going to get me dinner tonight. It's pretty cool. One side needs to come in a little bit. What I'm doing now is I'm just trying to get things as symmetrical as I can while keeping a good center line. Not really hard to keep a good center line when you got a point that's this thin. I mean, the center line pretty much is what it is. Toughest part is not snapping it at the base, or at the point, the tip. Like I've done several times, whether it makes it to the video or not. Trust me, I've had several failures tonight. Tip is still a little off. It's a little better. I think I'm about at the point where it'd be smart to switch to my smaller pressure flaker. So that's what I'm going to do. And so far, this is what we have. Got that ugly wave, that flow pattern on the back, but that's all right. I mean, in reality, in the old days, this point really only had to perform once, and usually they only did, at least from what I've been able to understand. If I'm wrong, let me know. Just taking off these edges, trying to keep this in a good shape. Now that I've got that smaller pressure flaker, do a little bit more detail work. So those edges that kind of pop out, that are not in line with the other side, now's my chance to correct those. A little bit of a issue at the base where the side comes out a lot more than on the other side, so that's what I'm fixing right now. But if you take too much off, means you just have to flip it over, get it from the other side. Try and get the thick spot of this base off where it broke originally. It's a lot thicker than the rest of the spots where it's been pressure flaked. Just trying to get rid of that broken edge look. So everything's down the same size. It'll haft easier, it'll look better. It'll all work out better in the long run. There we go, that was a good sound. It's so cool how you can hear those flakes. You can tell when you get a good flake. When you get a crushed edge. Like that. That's a good one. That was a good one. Alright. So it's taking a little bit longer than I thought. So I can just bust out a nice quick point. But that never happens. Not with a flake that you're kind of forcing yourself to take. I mean, this was a flake that would very easily make it to my junk pile. I'm trying to retrain my brain. It's so easy to want to just migrate towards, or not migrate, but gravitate towards those really cool thick flakes or bifaces that are going to give you instant gratification, give you that really beautiful point. But take for granted the things like this. I mean, check that out. That was a flake not too long ago. Can't see in the camera there what it's picking up, but that's a pretty darn good looking point. This will be, I think, the 10th point. I did get a little bit of waste trying to create this. There were a couple of smaller flakes that I took and I broke them. I don't think I'll post them just because, you know, who wants to watch them? That big of a deal. Alright, so now we're going to go into the notching. Grind these sides real quick. And I originally was going to give kind of like a horseshoe shaped notch in the base, but I think I'm going to go back to side notching. Because of the shape of this and just because I want to make sure we get a decent point out of here. I want point number 10. So I use my small copper nail and go up probably, I would say, maybe a centimeter, maybe half a centimeter. My first pass. Flip it over, make my second pass. Alright. Maybe I'll make a third pass. How about that? Alright. So there's the beginnings of our first notch. And we'll start on the other side. If you've watched my other videos, you know I like to take small notches, flip them over, take more small notches, keep doing that, so that if my notches decide they want to stall, which they don't do much anymore, not as much as I used to, but if they do decide they want to stall, at least they're the same size. So now I'm flipping over because that notch, oh, damn it, another fail. Well, I don't know, maybe I'll post this. That's what happens when you put too much pressure on there. That groove is pretty deep. These small points I should probably use just a leather pad. It's a bummer, but I'm going to try and save it. Just pushing off my hand pad. Just trying to get off that base, that broken part. I'm trying to even it out again. Boy, I'm getting sick of doing that. Taking off all these deltas here. I mean, at this point, it's pretty thin. Even though I broke it, it's pretty thin. It was further up on the tip. Yeah, I don't know if it'll show it in this video or not, but I've broken this point more than once. So let's try these side notches again. Now I'm not even going to use the groove. Just going to use the pad. The groove is just going to snap this thing in half. Well, flip it over to the other side. See if I can get something happening over there. Yep. I don't know, there may be some flaws in the stone, but I don't think so. I think this is pretty much errors on my side. But we're still going to get a point out of this. So just kind of flipping it over back and forth, just to make sure that these ears end up even. And I'm not going to go too deep, because I don't want to take a chance on this copper blowing off one of those ears, because this is already pretty small. I don't really want it any smaller. One thing I might do though, even though, okay, so we have a pretty decently notched point now. I mean, it can be trimmed up a little bit, but whatever. I might try and put a base notch in there too, just for fun. But that base is pretty thick, so I don't know. Hope I don't end up just ruining this whole thing. But I really like those base notches. And supposedly, I've been told they help keep the point from breaking on impact. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you have any insight, leave it in the comments. Here comes the scary part. Now this ear's a little fat. I need to work on that ear. Just really gently, really super gently. I don't want to break this again. This point has been broken like 3 times. I'm not embarrassed to say that. It happens to everybody, and this is new to me. I'm not used to just making flake points. So, every point that I break teaches me something. Now, this one's going to be a little bit ugly, I think. Pretty sure of it. Trim this base down, because this base is a lot thicker than... Not thicker, but it just goes down further than the rest of the point, so it doesn't look that great. Itty bitty nubs, or nibs, or whatever you want to call it, nibbles. Bring this into symmetry. Sometimes you have to flip over to the other side. This is good though because it's getting off that flat edge from that break. So actually it's improving the way the point looks. So it's worth it. It's just a little bit scary because if I'm going to break the point, this is probably where it's going to happen. So I might leave this one a little bit rough looking. I'm going to grind it a little bit, I think. Grinding always brings out the finished product. Look at this. I hate to do it, but this one side is, this one ear here, is a little bit longer, so I'm just going to see if I can nibble that off without breaking it. Okay, that's good. Let's square this side off too. Trying to make both ears look the same. This is most likely going to be an unnecessarily long video. I apologize. Alright. Pretty much ready to call this done. Let's give it a little bit more of a tip. Again, I'm not using the groove on the pad right now because this is so thin. I'm just using the leather itself. The leather has enough flex. There we go. Here, a couple of those flakes. Good. Just to give it a little bit more of a tip. It's a little bit rounded. Yep. There we go. We did it. Alright, I'm going to grind this off. I think that we've got our shape. Alright, so not as big of a point as we were hoping to get out of that flake, but we did get ourselves another bird point. Let's see, how can I hold this to where you can see it the best? Probably like this. It's pretty thin, it'll do the job. Let's see if I can get a view like this. So there's the ugly side of the point. You can see that wave in there where the dacite, it cooled. That's where it cooled rapidly. Had some waves there. If you flip it over, that's the better side of the point. Still nothing amazing, nothing to write home about. Could use a little bit more trimming in that direction. You know, to get that point a little bit straighter. But I think for the sake of this challenge, just going to grind this a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So there we go. So for the sake of this challenge, we're going to call this done. I just ground that a little bit, which actually did correct that appearance. It's still really wavy. It's not nearly sharpened or anything like that, but it's a good preform point that can be sharpened into a hunting point if needed. If not, maybe it'll go on a necklace. So, appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Please remember to share, subscribe, like, and all that other stuff. And until next time, this is Paleo Greenbird, and I am signing out.